Hello, this is Ken. Welcome to the Information Nation. Hey, how's everybody doing today? This may end up being a two-parter. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. Basically, we're going to talk about oil. Gee, isn't that something? Barely affects your lives, right? Let's see, plastics, parts in your car, medical supplies, syringes, least of all, gasoline. I mean, what are the gasoline prices today? I know out by me, I've watched them go from about $3.05 a gallon. Today it was $3.56, and they're still climbing. I understand in some places in the country they're around $4 a gallon. Well, there's been a lot of false information passed around out there. Number one, as I stated in an earlier video, the Department of Energy was created back in the Carter administration to make us energy independent. They're totally useless, so what do we need them for? Let's get rid of that department and save the money. So there's some cutting out of the budget. And the EPA, they haven't helped much either, so let's get rid of them too. But what I want to basically talk today about is oil. Now, this came from the Examiner in Denver, and this guy scoffs at the Balkan shale oil reserves are the stuff of urban legends. This is by Lee Mausel. This was done quite a while ago because at that time crude oil prices were currently at $45 a barrel. And let's see, this was Financial Times done on the 21st, and it was at $119 a barrel. But he says practical oil recovery must accommodate current and anticipated technologies. So he says that the Stansberry report, which said there were 2 trillion barrels, he says there's only 503 billion barrels. The whole thing is practical oil recovery. And I have some reports here from the Geological Survey which state technical recovery oil resources are producible using current available technology and industry practices. So let's see what we have here. This one here is technical recovery oil assets in North Dakota, Montana's Bakken Formation. The average, and what they do is I'll take the low estimate, the high estimate, and I'll average it out. I want you to understand that. They estimate between 3 and 4.3 billion barrels of oil technically recoverable. That was in 2008. Here's one from 2009, and they estimate in the Payson Basin an estimated 1.525 trillion barrels of oil. This one here is the Arctic Circle. They estimate 90 billion barrels of oil. The Green River Formation, they estimate a total of 1.007 trillion barrels of oil. And according to here's another one, Balkan Formation, Williston Basin, Providence, Montana, North Dakota, 3.65 billion barrels of oil. We have more oil in this country than the rest of the world has. Now, two of the problems that we have here. Number one, because of the EPA, a lot of this is tied up. They can't go out and drill for it. They can't go out and get it. The other problem is if we get it, how are we going to refine it? We haven't built a refinery in this country in probably 20 or 30 years. You know, these politicians have got to wake up. They are killing this economy. We have the reserves here in this country. Why should we be paying $3.55 or $4 a gallon for gasoline when we have all these oil reserves? This to me is unconscionable on the part of the politicians, and especially these environmental wackos. You know, they talk about carbon dioxide, or CO2. Well, plants use CO2 to give us oxygen. But let's get rid of all the CO2. There's too much of that. So apparently there's too many plants. But that pushed aside, if we don't do something, this economy is gone. Now, there's only two reasons that I can think of. And that's number one, the globalists don't want us to drill. They have a totally different package in mind with their one world government. You see what's going on in the Middle East? You know, Libya produces 1.5 million barrels of oil a day. And all of a sudden the oil prices are going up, up, up. And your gasoline prices are going up, up, up. Diesel fuel is well over $4 a gallon. And you have all your other products that are made. Your eyeglass lenses, which are plastic, a lot of them. Oil product. Your containers, milk containers, everything, oil product. Everything that's made from oil, and the list is enormous. All of those items are going to go up. What does that mean for you? Higher prices. This is going to destroy our economy. And on top of that, the 1.5 million barrels a day that come out of Libya are basically sold to Europe. They're not sold to the United States. So why are we getting nailed with all these costs? We have high unemployment. I don't care what the government says, the employment rate is about 20%. If you take the people that are still on unemployment, the people who have dropped off unemployment, people who are underemployed, we're around 20%. That's 2 out of every 10 people. I don't think there's a person out there that doesn't know somebody who is unemployed or underemployed, struggling to keep their homes. And here's where the problem comes in. If we don't get this economy rolling, the housing market is going to collapse worse than it already has. Banks are going to collapse worse than they already have. People's lives are going to be thrown in turmoil, and you're going to have the same thing in this country that you're having in the Middle East, which is going to be riots in the streets. We have got to get this under control. We have got to start getting our politicians to understand you've got to do what's good for the United States of America and not go and kiss everybody else's fanny around the rest of the world. Now, I know they have a problem in the Middle East. Gaddafi, Kalafel, whatever the heck his name is killing his own people. So what's the answer to that? Well, the president came out and said, we're going to go to the United Nations. Or as I like to call them, useless nations. Because while they sit around and talk about this, before they do anything, he's going to kill another couple of thousand people over there. This guy's not coming out of power. And he's not going to produce the oil. There's something going on in this world right now. Now, if you're a Christian, you look at it from a biblical standpoint. If you are a non-Christian, and what I mean by a non-Christian is a non-believer in any type of religion, you look at it from a secular standpoint. The problem being is we've got so many things going on in this world right now, and our politicians are sitting there spinning their little thumbs. They're talking about $100 billion cut off of the budget. $100 billion, that's like scratching your butt for a buck. This has got to stop. We have got to get people that will do the best things for the United States of America. Now, the U.S. Geological Survey talked about oil. They also talked about natural gas. And the natural gas out there is phenomenal. You know, Warren Buffett, or not Warren Buffett, but yeah, I guess it was Warren Buffett. Whatever, the guy with the oil guy. He was right when he said we have an abundance of natural gas. And it's all stuck in the ground. You know, instead of looking for alternative forms of energy, we should be looking, currently we have a crisis. Looking for alternative forms of energy right now is ridiculous. I mean, we should continue to do it, continue our technological advances in it. But we have a crisis now. It's not going to do us any good when they come out with alternative energies 25, 30, 40 years from now. It's going to be too late. This is not a McDonald's type of problem where you walk in the store, plop down $1 and get your burger. This is a problem that is going to take a long time to solve. And we have to use the energy resources that we have now. So all I can say is drill, baby, drill. We got to drill. We've got to build more power plants. We have to build more oil refineries. We have to get this economy rolling again. And the only way to do it is if people like you start writing your congressman, calling your senator, and telling them in no uncertain terms that you will not vote for them if they don't get off their butt and do something. If they don't get off their butt and come up with an energy policy that can affect the economy now. You don't get this economy rolling now, in 2012, we're going to kick you out and put somebody else in who will get this economy rolling. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to happen overnight. It's going to be a long, hard road back. And everybody's going to have to sacrifice. Everybody from the average person all the way to the teachers in Wisconsin and Ohio and Indiana. But if we don't do something, this country's going down. The globalists want us to collapse. They want to build their utopia. And I'll tell you another way to cut the deficit. Let's get rid of Big Sis, Janet Napolitano, and the Homeland Security people. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything but groping you. Hey, first we'll take a naked picture of you, then we'll turn around and fondle your fudgies. And we're going to upset your children, and we're going to grope your wife, and we're going to grope you, and we're going to say, oh, see something, say something. Stick that right up your chocolate whiz-wang, Napolitano. You're an idiot. You and the rest of them socialists. If this economy doesn't start rolling, it's not going to matter whether you see something, say something. Because if this economy doesn't start rolling, we're doomed. We're going right down the toilet. And they're not even going to flush it. They're just going to stuff you in it with all the rest of the turds. Hey, but that's just my opinion. This is Ken for the Information Nation. Leave a comment below. Subscribe. I'd like to hear from you. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.